The gloves coming off last night in the Republican primary debate number 3. It happened in Miami.
Indeed, candidates clashed over a wide range of issues, and foreign policy was front and center, as it should be.
This all happening while former President Trump holding a dueling rally. Same city, same time, Lawrence.
So we have live team coverage. Rachel Campos' deputy is down in Miami talking to voters this morning. Pete Hegseth is here. Let's start with last night's Trump rally.
That's right. They were expecting 30,000 in Hialeah, which is a little north of downtown Miami. They packed the Ted Hendricks Stadium. They were expecting 30,000. Don't know exactly how many showed up, but the folks got 90 minutes of Donald Trump, who, as you know, we've talked about for a long time. He is so far ahead of everybody else. This was essentially counter-programming to the debate, which was on NBC.
Yeah, he's still the front runner, and if you look at any poll, it's going to tell you that. In fact, his approval ratings exceed all 5 of the candidates we saw last night on stage together, combined. So he's doing better than all of them combined.
And here is a look at what you may have missed.
Somebody said, one of the dumber ones, he doesn't have the courage to stand up. Well, listen, I'm standing in front of tens of thousands of people right now, and it's on television. That's a hell of a lot harder to do than a debate. And it's time for the Republican establishment to stop wasting time and resources trying to push weak and ineffective RINOs and never-Trumpers that nobody wants and nobody's going to vote for. I will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. And we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, I will always protect Social Security and Medicare. In times like these, you can't afford to have a president who wants to be politically correct. We have to do things properly. We cannot have an administration that takes foreign policy advice from Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib. Can't do that. Can't do that. I kept America safe. I kept Israel safe. I kept Ukraine safe. And I kept the world safe. Israel, Ukraine would have never happened under the Trump administration.
So he ends it, Steve, by saying that all the candidates that were on the debate stage, they need to drop out and coalesce behind him because they don't have a shot in this race.
Right, and of course, all the candidates on the debate stage over on NBC are like, okay, we've got to somehow distinguish ourselves so we can catch up, but he is so far ahead. And one of the things that helped Donald Trump yesterday was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was his press secretary, finally endorsed him. She had been reluctant to endorse anybody, wanted to see how things were playing out in the primaries, and we haven't even hit the primaries and the caucuses yet, but the writing is on the wall. A year out away from the election, and Donald Trump is so far ahead of everybody else. Well, can anything stop him?
It's always so much fun to watch these debates. This was the 3rd one, but then we walk away. We wake up the next morning. We realize
Look at this, 3 kisses. Right, watch it. Go to the 3rd. Sorry, go ahead.
Are we in Europe?
Yeah, I know. That's right.
Right. Yeah, there he is shaking hands with everyone. There's Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
We keep on showing the same
I
kiss.
know.
Right,
And look, 1, 2.
Got the endorsement. Yep.
There.
So
he might have been whispering.
He might have. But when I woke up this morning, I thought, who do I think won? And I thought DeSantis did really well, and I thought Nikki Haley did really well. I think both of them are the winners for different reasons. Nikki Haley, she had some comebacks because Vivek Ramaswamy was going after her daughter for, he said, you know, this is a double standard. You're going after me for TikTok, but yet your daughter has TikTok. She said, my daughter is a grown woman. Don't get my daughter's name out of your voice.
Right.
Who does it remind you of?
Well, Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I hadn't seen this before, and we're about to play the soundbite. There was a key moment, and it had to do with footwear. Watch.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got 2 of them on stage tonight.
I'd first like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them. Say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
Well, we've got 2 of you on stage.
The second thing that I will say is I wear heels. They're not for a fashion statement. They're for ammunition.
The regions of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia right now, in the Donbass, Luhansk, Donetsk, These are Russian-speaking regions that have not even been part of Ukraine since 2014, that other people probably couldn't name those provinces for you. Those are the hard facts. And so to frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil, don't buy it.
I am telling you, Putin and President Xi are salivating at the thought that someone like that could become president. They would love to see that.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter
preaching
out
to
of your
anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
What was he doing?
You're just scum, she said.
Right,
Just
but the issue is a good one about TikTok, because the #1 app in the country, the president is afraid to get rid of it because that's where he thinks young supporters are. So Barack Obama can sit Indian style under a table with people with nose rings on and pink hair and talk about what Gen Z cares about, or Gen E. So they don't want to give up TikTok because they think voters are there. But the responsible thing in this country is to get rid of the app. I guess her point is, hey, Nikki Haley, you want me to get rid of TikTok, but your daughter didn't. Your daughter's 27. They're making their own decisions. She doesn't pick out the car for her daughter either, I'm sure. So that's a point that I think was not worth making.
She also
but they
said,
have a personal problem with each other.
She said they do. She said, I'm pro-life, but we don't need to judge people who are pro-choice. She said, I had a roommate in college who was raped. She was worried she was pregnant, and I wouldn't judge her based on whatever decision she made. Also, Ron DeSantis, how about this line? He said at the drug cartels at the border. I know we're going to talk to Pete coming up. And I'd love to hear your opinion. Pete's sitting over there.
He won't give it.
Said,
he's not in that kind of mood.
If someone in a drug cartel is sneaking fentanyl across the border, that's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to shoot them stone cold dead.
There was a lot of moments at the debate. I think it was Ron DeSantis' best debate performance out of all of them. But Vivek started the debate going after NBC about the Russia collusion.
And brought up Greg Gutfeld.
And I think he did. And I think his point was that he doesn't understand why the RNC is having liberal activist journalists host it, because the Democrats would never do that. He also makes the point, and I think a lot of Republican voters agree with him on this point, about Ronna McDaniel. And you may like her personally, but with all the losses that is happening for the party, should she still be in charge of the RNC? And, you know, I think these people get elected based on winning. And we haven't, the Republican Party has not been winning as a party.
Well, it hasn't. And it's having a really tough time ever since the Dobbs decision, when the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. And given the fact that the Democrats coast to coast had a really good night on Tuesday night where they ran on abortion, those darn Republicans are going to take your reproductive rights away. That's one of the reasons why the folks at the White House are very optimistic that in a year with Joe Biden, he's going to run on Dobbs and he's going to run on democracy.
Well, Ainsley, there's no message. There's no message that Well,
the message is Republicans are going to take that away.
The message has to change for Republicans if you look at the big picture and what's most important, and that's saving this country. So, you know, many Republicans are pro-life. You're in a Catholic family. You know, you're in a Christian family. You grew up in a Catholic family. I love the Lord. That would be a really hard decision to do that. But some women make that choice. But I liked what Nikki Haley said. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to vilify you if you do this. Everyone has different situations. We don't like it. It needs to be very rare if you're going to have one. But and most people are not for it in the Republican Party. But if you're an independent and you're a woman, you want control of your body. You don't want the President of the United States to tell you that you have to go to the doctor and do something, or you can't do something. Well, you don't want those rules.
And Ronna McDaniel only can do so much. If a certain campaign has their way of strategizing, they're going to do it their way. That's what frustration she expressed. And just for the record, I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I need a favor. So,
okay, Jelly Roll.
There you go.
Who sang that song?
That was Jelly Roll. Okay. Thank you. It's a very good
This hour.
Yeah, this hour.
Heard it.
I just want to say one thing. They brought up tolerance, and they brought up violence, and they brought up this one lunatic that stabbed this little boy who's Muslim. That is a terrible story, but that's one story. This is a 69-year-old just got knocked out and killed by a bullhorn when he hit his head. There is anti-Semitism raging in this country. And for NBC to sit there and go, yeah, I got an example of intolerance in America. It's this one story. What about the 30-year-old rabbi in Detroit that's dead and they finally arrested someone? right after the 7th of October, logic would say that that had something to do with the religion.
Are we really shocked? Have y'all not seen the clips of NBC and their coverage of this war?
Right.
And their commentators that they have on there that spew pro-Hamas talking points. So I think to Vivek's point, why are these people hosting a Republican primary? And I think there's a lot of Republican voters that are saying, what is the RNC doing? She does make the decision on who hosts the primary.
But it might be good, because if it's on a liberal network and they're seeing a message
Whole
from
new audience.
5 amazing
Right.
candidates. I mean, those 5 candidates and Donald Trump combined, all of them are better than what we have right now in the White House. So
They're trying to get
they
the
have a
word
different
out.
audience than we do.
And you can't win without moderates and independents.
And remember,
undecideds.
Hillary Clinton, I think one of her biggest regrets, her campaign said, was not coming on
Well,
Fox.
I can't
So
wait.
she's a
I
friend.
can't wait till the Democratic Party allows us to host one of their primaries.
Well,
Lawrence Jones will host the next
That would be good.
debate.
I would love.
I would say this about the NBC debate last night. It wasn't much of a debate
No.
because they didn't really allow any crosstalk or any, okay, they name checked you want to talk. They didn't do that. They were all 3 really good at saying your time is up, and they moved on.
Yeah.
It was easier to get everybody's sound bites, but essentially it wasn't a debate. It was 90-second sound bites.
All right,
back
we
to back.
forgot to say one thing, and then we're going to go to Rachel. Sorry, Rachel. At the end of the debate, we all love to see their families come up there. I want to see what their wives look like, what their
Right.
kids look like. And at the end of the debate, Tim Scott brings a
We
woman
got
on
his
stage.
girlfriend.
We got his girlfriend.
Let's take a look. Tim Scott's got a girlfriend, and we saw her on the stage.
He told us he had a girlfriend, and
There she is.
And I
All
think
right.
they get
This is
ready.
running mate.
Did they hold hands? That's why I was like, I don't.
Right.
Is that his girlfriend
That's
or
very
is that
important.
his friend? They held hands a little. Yeah, her name
Right.
is Mindy Nosett. She's a design and renovation consultant in Charleston, South Carolina. She has 3 children. Tim's never been married. He's 58 years old.
And let me just tell you,
he is the greatest guy.
And he is. Yeah, what's her first name?
Her name is Mindy.
Mindy, don't let this. He's a great guy. I'm not a great guy. I'm good at judging men. And I would say he's a quality individual.
He's a U.S. senator.
He is a nice guy, and I hate to take from this moment, but he shouldn't be on the stage. I mean, there's only so much of the same rhetoric that you can put on the
Lawrence.
stage.
Lawrence,
It's
don't say
great.
that about my Tim Scott.
He barely made it. He had 1%.
Well, let's see if he's on the next one. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.